Want amazing looking eyes? Try Lumify, the one-of-a-kind eye drops that Allure magazine said could be a game changer. Lumify dramatically reduces redness to help your eyes look whiter and brighter for up to 8 hours with just one drop. Lumify, you won't believe your eyes.
Congratulations, E.T., on your 10,000th episode. That is that's huge. That's incredible. You need several bottles of very expensive champagne.
Okay, before we go, we have a special guest here to commemorate this historic show, Kim Partridge from Guinness World Records.
We're proud to join Entertainment Tonight in their celebration of their 10,000th episode. Our team performed extensive global...
Happening now.
Storms are already firing in the Hill Country. They're headed towards San Antonio. A full update and the severe threat coming up.
There's a delay in the trial of accused cop killer Otis McCain. I'm Paul Venema. Coming up, we'll have the latest.
January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we've just learned that there were 2 arrests made just today. One of them involving a woman who sold her own relative for sex. What we've learned next.
Boeing under scrutiny yet again. New emails between Boeing employees have surfaced that could further incriminate the company. What those emails said.
He started as a donor, but now billionaire businessman Tom Steyer is seemingly a top Democratic candidate, at least in 2 states. What's behind the surprising surge?
Could sugar substitutes be hiding in the foods your kids eat? Coming up, what parents should know about sugar labels.
A woman accused of trading a fake winning lottery ticket for a car. Now she's paying the price.
The news at 5 starts right now.
And we begin with a look at live cam. There are storms already developing in the Hill Country, including some watches out there, at least one.
Yeah, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect and even one severe thunderstorm warning. So the watch basically encompasses a good portion of our viewing area, including Bexar County and San Antonio. This means conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms. Doesn't mean they're happening now. The conditions are favorable. Primary threats from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. here in San Antonio. Straight line winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour, and large hail, maybe 1 to 2 inches in diameter. We've got moderate threats of those, and those are the primary threats as we go through this evening. Here's a look at radar. There's a look at the line of storms already developing in the Hill Country. One severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Fredericksburg for the next 15 minutes. And that line is going to continue to develop southward as it moves into town. I'll be back to time it out for you and let you know what this means for the weekend coming up.
Thank you, Adam. Now to the latest on the Capitol murder trial of accused cop killer Otis McCain. A trial date has been set and pretrial scheduling orders are in place.
He's charged in the execution-style slaying of veteran SAPD detective Ben Marconi. The state is seeking the death penalty, and as Paul Venema reports, that dictates extensive pretrial preparation.
Just a day after veteran SAPD detective Ben Marconi was killed in what the police chief called a cold and calculated murder, 33-year-old Otis McCain was arrested and charged with capital murder.
They're the most complex criminal cases that we deal with.
Judge Sid Harrell, who has served as both prosecutor and judge in capital murder cases, is talking about death penalty cases. That is what the district attorney is seeking for McCain. This week, what should be the final scheduling order in McCain's trial was released. His trial date is set for April 27th. Before that, there's a lot of legal work to do, several pretrial hearings, and then lengthy jury selection.
You have to talk to each and every juror separate and apart from the other jurors.
That is time-consuming. The scheduling order allows for that.
Judges and prosecutors and defense lawyers are extremely careful in this process.
After all, there's a life at stake.
It's the ultimate sanction when the state of Texas seeks to put someone to death.
Defense attorney Paul Gohlke has personal experience. He was the defense attorney in the trial of Mark Anthony Gonzalez. Gonzalez was given the death penalty for the 2011 ambush-style slaying of Sheriff's Deputy Kenneth Van.
It gets the kind of attention that you would expect it would get, and that's time.
Bottom line, that scheduling order is a moving target, but it's a target in a complicated legal process. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
In New at 5, a woman accused of trying to sell a family member for sex, now behind bars. Police say back in September, 27-year-old Ashanti Johnson and a man who's not been arrested yet sexually assaulted the victim at a party on the Northwest Side. The victim told police after the alleged incident Johnson sent her a Facebook message saying, quote, she should have known what was going to happen, end quote. Police said the man apologized to the victim and told her he paid Johnson $100 for the meetup, which he said had been planned days in advance. Johnson arrested yesterday, booked into the Bexar County Jail, had this interesting booking shot on a charge of trafficking of a person.
San Antonio police still piecing together a shooting that sent 2 people to the hospital last night. Police say that one of the victims, a 57-year-old woman, was hit by a stray bullet while inside her home. It happened at 11:30 last night on Canton and North Walters. Witnesses told police they saw several people in a white sedan fire several shots, which struck a 57-year-old man several times in his neck and upper body. At last check, he was still in critical condition. Police believe someone at the home was targeted and that they returned fire. At some point, the woman was hit in the shootout. She's expected to be okay. No arrests have been made.
She used a fake lottery ticket to buy a car. Now she's paying the price. 30-year-old Margarita Escobar is accused of scamming a car lot owner out of a 2009 Chevy Malibu. Police say she convinced the owner to trade the car for a scratch-off ticket that she claimed was worth $5,000. When he tried cashing that ticket, he found out it was fake and filed a stolen car report. Police said the ticket was stolen from a Circle K and was altered. Escobar had reportedly been under investigation since 2017 for similar cases. She's charged with false transfer of claims.
Texas will no longer accept refugees. Governor Greg Abbott making that announcement this afternoon. He says Texas has done more than its share of taking in refugees. Back in November, the Trump administration announced resettlement agencies needed written consent from state and local officials over where they want refugees to settle. Texas is the first state to put the measure into action. Governors in 42 other states say they will allow refugees.
City leaders coming together today at Casa Bella Mosque on the city's north side to reassure San Antonio's Muslim and Jewish communities they're safe in San Antonio. District 8 Councilman Manny Pelaez organized the event after he says the amount of people expressing fears and anxieties over their safety has recently increased, largely in part over tensions with Iran. Pelaez says his main message to people in those communities, their safety is just as important as anyone else's.
Anybody who is the victim of a crime of harassment on the basis of nationality or religion, that they can find support and protection with SAPD and the Sheriff's Office.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, Sheriff Javier Salazar, and Police Chief William McManus all attended today's awareness event.
This morning, the Trump administration had an answer to the retaliatory missile strike on U.S. forces in Iraq on the day after that attack. In his address to the nation, President Trump had promised punishing new sanctions against Iran. The Trump administration is ramping up enforcement efforts imposed in April to push Iran's oil exports, its economic lifeblood, all the way down to zero. Iran has already been dealing with sanctions on virtually every area of Iranian economy.
The goal of our campaign is to deny the regime the resources to conduct its destructive foreign policy. We want Iran to simply behave like a normal nation. We believe the sanctions that we impose today further that strategic objective.
So far, the president has refrained from any immediate threats of military action against the Iranian regime. Yesterday, House Democrats approved a non-binding resolution requiring the president to get congressional approval for any future military action against Iran that lasts longer than 30 days. 3 Republicans supported that measure.
3 weeks after President Donald Trump was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced plans to move forward. The articles of impeachment will head to the Senate next week. Before that happens, the House needs to vote on impeachment managers. It's unclear when that vote will happen.
Money talks, and in the race for president, it might be coming down to the battle of the billionaires, and here's why. Tom Steyer is showing exactly just how far a lot of cash can take you in a campaign. The billionaire businessman went from just a large Democratic donor to presidential candidate, polling in the top tier in 2 states. Nadia Romero breaks down Steyer's surprising surge.
Voters in several key early states seem to be stuck on Tom Steyer.
I love this so much.
New polls have the billionaire businessman jumping into double digits. In South Carolina, Steyer receives 15% support. He's second only to Joe Biden and right next to Bernie Sanders.
We have billionaires buying elections.
It's a similar story in Nevada. Biden and Sanders led the Silver State, with Steyer tied for third with Elizabeth Warren.
I want to have a sweeping victory, honestly.
So what's behind the surprising surge? It could be money. In total, Steyer contributed more than $116 million for TV commercials.
I'm Tom Steyer, and I approve this message because I have a 30-year successful business record and a plan for economic growth.
In Nevada, he spent about $11 million for ads.
We aren't failing. Our politicians are failing. That's why I'm running for president.
In South Carolina, he's forked over $15 million. That's more than nearly every other candidate has spent on TV ads in every other state. The only exception, Michael Bloomberg, another billionaire in the race.
There's more billionaires in the 2020 race than there are black people.
The polls put Steyer in next week's debate, something many other candidates failed to do. Those who did make the stage may decide to take a swing or two at Steyer.
Tom Steyer made it onto that stage because he could reach in his own pocket and fund his campaign.
It's proved to be.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
The Boeing MAX 737 jets remain grounded, and today emails surfaced that put Boeing's knowledge of issues with the jets before they crashed into question. As ABC's Marcy Gonzalez explains, those emails are between Boeing employees, and the exchanges could likely be incriminating.
A new embarrassment for Boeing sparking outrage. Hundreds of newly released emails and instant messages show employees mocking the FAA, the company, and problems with its handling of the 737 MAX. In one exchange, a Boeing employee asks, "Would you put your family on a MAX simulator-trained aircraft? I wouldn't." Another, apparently joking, writing, "I still haven't been forgiven by God for the covering up I did last year." And one writing, "This airplane is designed by clowns who in turn are supervised by monkeys." The company already dealing with a multi-billion-dollar crisis because of the MAX, with the fastest-selling jetliner ever still grounded indefinitely following two crashes that killed nearly 350 people. Lawmakers calling the messages damning.
If Boeing had been more forthcoming earlier on with this information from the emails and the messaging, we could have gotten to solutions sooner, and potentially we could have saved the lives of 346 people.
In some of the internal messages, employees question federal regulators, one claiming the FAA were neither thorough nor demanding and failed to write up many issues. Boeing saying in a statement, "These communications do not reflect the company we are and need to be, and they are completely unacceptable." The FAA also responding, calling the tone and content of the messages disappointing, but saying there's nothing in the documents that points to any new safety risks. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Today marking the start of Dream Week. It is a 16-day summit with more than 200 local events that advance Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision. One of the first events, learning about one of San Antonio's long-lost African-American cemeteries, is the Hockley Clay Cemetery on the northeast side that had been overgrown and forgotten. It's sandwiched between Northern Hills Elementary and Northern Hills Subdivision. Back in 1980, the developer built the homes around the cemetery, but it was a neighbor's curiosity a few years ago that led to its discovery. Then it had to be cleared and studied, and the plan is now to restore the cemetery. One of the descendants of those buried here believes his ancestors would be proud to know this history is finally being revealed.
I think they would be, say, hey, they finally remembered, or somebody's taken an interest.
The public is invited to a roundtable discussion at 10 o'clock about its significance and the history of African Americans in that area, especially after the Civil War. The cemetery's discovery, not without some controversies, of course. Jesse Degullado will have that part of the story at 6.
Still ahead on the news at 5, no added sugar. It's a marketing tactic to draw consumers in. Why experts say you shouldn't fall for it. Next. If you're trying to limit how much sugar your kids eat, you may be feeding them artificial sweeteners and not even know it. They're called non-nutritive sweeteners because they don't have any nutritional value. The American Academy of Pediatrics is calling for more transparency in labeling sugar substitutes that may be creeping more and more into the foods your kids eat. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz with what parents should know.
When Sue Mallett bakes muffins, she uses bananas and dark chocolate to sweeten them. Controlling sugar in packaged foods is trickier.
I look at every label. Sugar could be sneaky, and sometimes it might say on the front low sugar, but there really is some extra unnatural stuff in there that I don't really want my kids to have.
Nutrition labels are now required to list not only how much sugar is in something, but how much added sugar is in there too. That's good, but Consumer Reports says that could create a new complication for parents.
The concern is to make that added sugars number look more appealing to consumers, manufacturers might take out some of the regular sugar and add in non-nutritive sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame.
Less sugar is better, especially for kids. But it's not so clear that simply consuming non-nutritive sweeteners instead is any healthier for them.
There's a lot of research in terms of non-nutritive sweeteners and how they affect the body, from appetite to blood glucose control to weight loss, but we just don't know how these sweeteners will affect kids in the long term. One reason it's difficult to study the long-term effects is that manufacturers are not required to list the amount of sugar substitutes on the labels.
CR encourages parents to look for both added sugars and those non-nutritive sweeteners. Better yet, choose fresh fruits and veggies and skip the sugary drinks. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
We are keeping our eye to the west because there's a lot going on. It doesn't seem like it right here in San Antonio at the moment, but stand by.
Radar's active. It's getting active out west. So far, so good for the commute. It's the tail end of the commute, 6 to 7 o'clock hour, when I think we could start to see more action closer to town. So maybe a little inconvenient for some evening plans, especially early evening plans. I'll break it all down for you, time it out for you, of course, as well, let you know what the primary threats are, and then when we're home free. So let's get right to it. And taking a look at the radar out there right now, that's actually just a glance of what we have and a quick estimate of what we're anticipating arrival times. I'm going to get back to this in just one moment, but let's take a look at the primary threats and around San Antonio and basically a good portion of our viewing area. Straight line winds and large hail are our primary threats. What does that mean? There could be some embedded wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour in isolated locations, maybe some isolated hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. As for the tornado threat, it's not zero, but it's low. It's on the lower end. Flash flooding, very low threat with this situation. Not a whole lot of rain, so it'll be a fast-moving line of storms. Severe thunderstorm watch. This means conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms. You see all these colors on this map? Okay, what we're looking at here in the orange, on a scale of 1 to 5 is a 3. In terms of severe weather risk today. So that's northern Bexar County, basically along and north of Highway 90 here and up the I-35 corridor. The primary time frame, I think, is between about 5 and 9 p.m. All right, so here's the activity that we have on the radar. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Gillespie County and western Blanco County right now as this strong part of the line starts to slowly move eastward. Within that line, and we could see some isolated gusts of 60 miles per hour, maybe some 1-inch diameter hail. Now, you look farther south, Kerr County, you have some action there in southeastern Kerr County, but it's not severe, at least not at the moment. We're expecting more development southward along this line. So you look in Bandera, starting to get some lightning strikes here, and we are expecting that to continue to fill in southward on the tail end of the line, and then all of that push southeastward into San Antonio. All right, so what about the timing of this? Well, here, let's look at it again. Helotes probably somewhere around 6 o'clock. This is a rough estimate given the movement of the line so far, but the line is still evolving and it's still developing. So we'll have to fine tune those numbers. But what I really like is this particular computer model on our Futurecast. It overdoes the activity south of Uvalde right now, but the timing, I think, is right as you get into San Antonio. 5:30, 6 o'clock, you start to see that line move into Bexar County. 6 to 7, we'll have it passing through town. And then between 7 and 8 is when it starts to move east of San Antonio. And by 11 o'clock midnight, I think we're home free. So here are those rain chances. They peak about 6 to 8 p.m. for us, then they really drop off later on tonight. And as we wake up tomorrow morning, nothing to worry about. This weekend will be fantastic for you. A lot of sunshine, 40s in the morning, afternoons in the 60s this weekend. Bit of a breeze on Saturday, and then we warm up a little bit again as we get into next week.
All right, we'll keep an eye on this tonight. You guys are going to be watching the radars for us.
And really quickly, earlier today, I was live on our weather app, Stream Live. I'll probably be doing that again. We'll keep you updated on air, online, and in the palm of your hand.
Like that.
Sounds good. All right, can the Spurs keep their mojo in Memphis?
Well, they want to continue to be road warriors coming after two big back-to-back wins. One at home, one on the road in Boston. Can they keep up the road warrior effect tonight in Memphis? We got a preview for it. It's weigh-in day for the big fight card of the Alamodome coming up. Our San Antonio Spurs are trying to match their longest win streak of the season when they face the Grizzlies in Memphis tonight. This is game 2 of their 4-game, 8-day road trip that started in Boston on Wednesday night with the Spurs' biggest road win of the season, beating the Celtics in Boston 129-114. In fact, their 2 biggest wins have come in back-to-back games with a dominating 126-104 win against number 1 Milwaukee at home on Monday. Now they face the Grizzlies, who are just behind the Spurs in the Western Conference playoff picture, but have won 5 of their past 6 home games since the Spurs' 145-114 victory back on December the 23rd.
After the last game, I said, no matter who we play, we got to go out there and compete, take on the challenge, no matter who we playing against. And you know, these last 2 games speak volumes. We just got to carry over and keep it going against Memphis.
All right, be consistent is the key. Tonight, the tip is 7 p.m. Highlights for you tonight on the Night Beat.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
When Mike McCarthy is named the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, the speculation began as to who would remain on the Cowboys coaching staff. Rod Marinelli was one of the first to be told his contract would not be renewed. After 6 seasons, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, he'll be replaced by Saints linebacker coach Mike Nolan. Likewise, the Cowboys special teams coordinator, Keith O'Quinn, is out. He'll be replaced by former Rams special teams coordinator John Fassel. The only one of the big 3 assistants that's expected to stay is Kellen Moore, who as the Cowboys offensive coordinator. So who has the final say over the Cowboys coaching staff?
There's been a lot of input there from a number of people in the organization. So, and they actually have done a great job, helping me, as far as from the recruiting standpoint and more of the contractual, type of things that are ahead of us. So.
We wanted Mike to pick his own staff if he wanted to. I mean, not if he wanted to, but we wanted him to pick his own staff.
And according to ESPN, Texas associate head coach and run game coordinator Stan Drayton is scheduled to visit with the Cowboys today. He coached Ezekiel Elliott at Ohio State. Gary Brown, who was the champion of Zeke during his holdout time, is still an option to stay in Dallas.
159.4.
The big day is here. It's the official weigh-in for this Saturday's boxing card. The Alamodome, presented by Thomas J. Henry and Golden Boy Promotions. The main event is a 12-round middleweight bout between Mexico's undefeated rising star Jaime Munguia and Ireland's Gary O'Sullivan. Munguia weighed in 159.4, and O'Sullivan tipped the scales at the same weight. 159.4 should be a good fight card. And it starts at 4:20 in the afternoon on Saturday. Tickets are still available at Ticketmasters in the Alamodome.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
Got it.
We'll be right back.
I want to let you know we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Kerr County and western Kendall County. That's until 6:15. We'll have a full update at 6.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us.
See you back here at 6 o'clock. World News next.